Welcome to this week's version of the Industry Leader Update. Today I wanted to answer a question that was really brought up by a recent New York Times article, what I feel was a straw man argument. In other words, we were forced to defend ourselves against something that really may not be much of a problem. But to really find out, we're going to ask one of our industry leaders, Michael Banner. He's with Security One Lending and also the founder and creator of the American CE Institute. Michael speaks with various professionals across the country in real estate, financial planning, and other fields, and so he has a very good idea of the pulse of the industry, as well as he has been an originator. So, Mike, how big do you think the issue is when it comes to heirs or children who want to keep the home or feel like they've been shortchanged?
Well, it's turned out to be a pretty big problem, Shannon, but it's one of those things, as you said, it's a straw man problem. The problem doesn't exist. One of the things that I do throughout the country is teach a class to varied people, as you've mentioned, reverse mortgages, myth versus reality. And one of the biggest myths in this country is that heirs or inheritors are against reverse mortgages. And the truth is, nothing could be further from the truth. Very rarely in my 32 years of lending and the last 7 years in reverse mortgages have I run across heirs that want to really step forward and say, wait a minute, I am putting my inheritance in front of my parents' quality of life. It's a problem that our detractors continue to push, and we continue to support it and give it notice inside our own industry. I think it's wrong, and I think we got to wipe it out.
So we're using the term children, which seems a little odd. How do you feel about us referring to adults, probably our age, Mike, when it comes to the term children, especially when it comes to the issue of addressing inheritance issues?
Well, this happens to be one of my pet peeves for sure, Shannon. Referring to these people as children, which there's no way to get around it legally, that is the correct term. They are the children of our clients. But to our detractors, who are too numerous in the reverse mortgage industry, to our friends in the New York Times that know so little about reverse mortgages, they consistently prove that, don't they? The term children is so misleading. It's giving a connotation, an image of little children going, Mommy, Daddy, why are you displacing us out of our house? These children are in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s. What is the message here?
Now, when you bring up this myth of children and heirs opposing the reverse mortgage, do they fight you on this? Do they shoot you down and say you're all wrong? What's the response that you're seeing out in the real world today?
Well, Shannon, that's the question I was waiting to hear, because that's what has made me so passionate about this being a myth. These people, these professionals who are the real people talking to our clients and their heirs, totally agree that they have yet to see an heir, not a child, an heir, after the reverse mortgage was explained and properly explained in all facets. No one comes forward and says, no, I do not want that for my mom and dad. I'd like my inheritance, please. I want that house to be free and clear. And the best example I can give you is what I actually do at each one of these classes to put forth the fact that this is one of the worst and hurtful myths in our industry. And what that is that I do with groups of people constantly is I ask everyone in the room to raise their hand if they are blessed to still have at least one of their parents with them. And if they do and they raise their hand, I ask them to keep their hands up. I then ask them, although they laugh, and I prepare them, you're going to laugh, but this is a very serious question. For those of you with your hands still raised that have your parents still with us, we'd like you to stand up if you actually place your own inheritance in front of your parents' quality of life. Please stand up. We'd all like to know who you are. And not only doesn't anybody stand up, you watch their hand go like that. No one is going to be like that. No one. This is a myth, and we have to stop perpetuating it inside our industry.
So, Mike, often myths and misconceptions, we think they reside in the hearts and minds of the American public or children or heirs in this instance. But where do you see the most dangerous ground being for these myths to take root?
Well, that's what makes this issue, again, Shannon, that's a great question. That's what makes this so dangerous. Where this has taken root is inside our own industry. And I see so many reverse mortgage people agreeing to it. And I will contact those reverse mortgage people and go, I'm very surprised at that. You've lost a mortgage due to an heir saying no? And they'll go, Well, no, I never actually have. Well, then why are you agreeing to it on a social network in front of 10,000 people? Well, that's what we hear happens. It doesn't happen. So the mindset is hurtful to our industry. It's hurtful to heirs that, let's face it, people our age, you and I, Shannon, that would do anything for our parents. Mine are not with us anymore, unfortunately. But where do you find people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that put their own needs before their parents?
So there you have it, a different twist on myths and misconceptions, some which even can reside in the hearts and minds of us as reverse mortgage professionals. And Mike Banner really brings home a point that I think we need to remember, and that's we need to really check and make sure that our internal belief systems are not preventing us from really reaching those seniors who could benefit and use the reverse mortgage as part of their retirement strategy. This concludes this episode of the Industry Leader Update, and I want to thank you, our loyal viewers, for coming back each and every week. Have a great week.